He's 6'9". He has helmet of brass. His coat of mail, it's like this chain armor thing's on him, is 125 pounds. He has brass on his legs. He has brass on his chest. His spear is on a weaver's bead. It's about this big around. And the head of the spear, which is like the arrow. How many of you have seen an arrow? How much you think an arrow weighs? The head part, like what? Maybe like a few ounces? Well, not Goliath. His weight, 15 pounds.
Oh my God.
Puts that thing in you. He's putting 15 pounds of iron right in you. And then he's covered in brass. So where are you even going to hit this guy? He's got a helmet of brass. And really think about that later on in the story, because most of y'all know how Goliath dies. And those of you who don't do a spoiler. We'll talk about it in a minute. So David walks into a situation where Israel is all sitting. All of Israel, and he is the youngest of 8 kids. He is not invited to the war. He is back home. He is taking care of sheep. His 3 oldest brothers are in the war. There's brothers that aren't even involved in anything at all. And he, being the youngest of all of them, he's just supposed to bring them some bread, some cheese. Just carry this stuff for daddy, son. Take it to your brothers, make sure it's fed, and come back, right? Sounds like something you would send the youngest one to do. So he goes into the war. So we're in 1 Samuel 17. 1 Samuel 17, David goes up to the war. And in the war, he starts hearing these things happening. You see, Goliath, for 40 days and 4 nights, have been punking the nation of Israel. He's like, yo, one guy. Send one guy out to fight me. If I win, we win the war. You guys serve the Philistines. If you win the war. The Philistines will serve Israel. Just bring one guy. You godless nation. Fraidy cat. You and your mama ugly. He's doing this for 40 days and 40 nights before David gets there. David gets there, and he's like, what is going on here? I don't
this is just for tonight.
Why isn't anybody standing up to this guy? And so he has to ask some questions. So the number one way to act fearless is don't listen to those who have never done what you're called to do.
That's good.
Because as soon as he starts asking questions, they get up with him. In verse 24, 1 Samuel 17, it says, whenever the Israelites saw the man, Goliath, they all fled from him in fear. Everybody ran. The king ran, the brothers ran, the best of warriors, they all ran in fear. They all ran away.
If you go to faith.com, it's broadcasting live right now with good quality.
All these people who are too scared to do what he's getting ready to do. He's asking them, what's the problem? A lot of times, they don't think it's possible for you to do this dream that you're sharing with them because they've never done it, and they don't see how it can possibly be your turn if it hasn't been theirs first. You see, he was the youngest of 8, and the very first guy to lash out was Eliab. In verse 28, Eliab is his oldest brother, and Eliab gets mad. David, how do you have the audacity to even bring this up? You know, you've come down here, you left those few sheep wilderness, didn't you? Dad told you to stay on the backside of the mountain with those few sheep, and you couldn't even follow that order. He starts put down in front of everybody else, because that's what they do to us. A lot of times, when they're too scared to step out, what they're going to do, lash out. So
that's good. Step out and lash out.
I know how conceited you are. I know how proud you are. I know how big you think you are. You need to go home. His own brother is making fun of him in front of everybody. But however, we're not supposed to listen to those people who have done what we feel it is we're called to do. So then he goes to the king, and he goes to King Saul, and he said, hey, King Saul, I can fix your problem. I will face this giant. And in verse 3, King Saul's a lot nicer about it, but he says, you're but a youth. You're too young. You don't have the experience. You don't have what
Was it not on my Periscope?
Go ahead and get your girlfriend
I
and
had
tell
to
them
leave,
you got what it
but I
takes.
left somebody with it.
We got what it takes. God wouldn't
It may
have
be
put
on
you in
tail
this
end of my
situation
Periscope.
if you didn't have what it took to get it done. You can't listen to those people tell you that you can't do it because they'd never do it. Because think about back in the days of Columbus. They didn't want Columbus to go sail and look for the Americas because they were afraid he was going to fall on the edge of the world. Because, of course, the world was flat. Right. That's what they all thought. They were stuck inside this space because they thought the world was flat. And really, that's kind of what it is. I wish I had some sand up here, and I had a stick, and I would put this stick, and I wouldn't just draw a line in the sand, because we've all heard of a line in the sand, but I always think, there's a line in the sand, why don't you just go around it? That's easy, right?
Yeah.
But what if the line in the sand is all the way around you? It's all around you, and now you're trapped inside this circle. Everything is on the other side. You see, being fearful will keep you on this side of the line. The inner me, those who've never gone before you and done things that you want to do, those people who want to keep you down on their level, they're all going to tell you about why you need to stay in the circle. Well, none of us have done anything like that before. Oh, you don't want to be exposed like that. Oh, you lose your 401k. Oh, baby, nobody of our color, our size, our family, our education, whatever the reason might be, none of us have ever gone into that space, and it's just, we know here, it's safe here. Why don't you just stay here in the circle?
Good.
Amen? But here's the thing, you can't be fearless and faithful at the same time. You see, when we named this event Fearless, I always thought fearless was one word. And what I found as I studied it out is really, I think fearless is two words. We're never going to go to that space where we fear anything at all. There will be things, I was to come up here tonight. Can I just be honest? I was in my bathroom earlier tonight. David had already left because he brought the spider up here so I didn't mess up my hair. And I was in my bathroom and I had been studying. I studied all day. I studied all day yesterday. And I was still scared to come up to you guys. I thought, they hear me talk every other week. Every week I'm preaching. Why is anybody going to come and hear me talk? I mean, they hear me talk. I'm on TV every other week. What are they going to come out? And if they come out, it might have a word that's going to be meaningful and impactful enough to make it worth their trip to come here. And my eyes started to fill up with tears. And this is like 45 minutes ago. Fear never goes away.
Thanks for sharing.
But we can fear less than we used to. Steps to fear less. One, we can't let those folks. Two, we cannot look at how the enemy has set up and how the deck has been stacked against us. He's looking at Goliath. He's looking at his size. He's looking at his stature. He's looking at
We're at faithchurch.com at City Campus. You can broadcast. We're broadcasting live there right now if you go to faithchurch.com.
If he would have looked at the circumstances, if he would have looked at the mark, well, there's an election coming this year. I can't do anything until the election happens because you just don't know what's going to happen. If God speaks to your heart and he tells you to move, if he doesn't tell you wait until after the election to move, when are you supposed to move? It doesn't matter what the circumstances look like when God puts it in your heart to do something. Now you want to fast and pray and make sure it's God telling you to do something, not just, hey, I heard Bubba and them started a company and that sounds fun. It's got to be God that speaks to us, but when God speaks to us and he asks us to do things, it doesn't matter what the circumstance looks like because we're not doing it alone. You see, part of fear and how it's developed is because we think we have to handle the problem ourselves. And us handling something alone is one thing. But handling something with the favor of God on us handling something with the God of the angel armies on our side, us handling something in the will of God is something else entirely